Hello, my name is Dante Alamán. I'm from OctoberPanicAttack.com, and I wanted to talk to you about Scare Brothers Haunted Nightmare. And this is in South Philly. It's part of the Terrorplex with Fright Factory. Scare Brothers Haunted Nightmare used to be in Horsham, Pennsylvania. They used to take residents at the sports complex. And if you look on our YouTube site and also on youtube.com/poopy diarrhea, you will see Scare Brothers commercials and some Scare Brothers documentaries that Apartment 1014 Films did. And you can also check them out through apartment1014films.com, where they actually allowed us to walk through the haunted house a couple years back and experience everything and get interviews from the people that were coming out. So Scare Brothers being in a whole new location, finally a permanent location, has definitely made a difference. When they were in Horsham, Pennsylvania, they had to basically build everything, then take it down again so that soccer games could play indoors in there, and then set it all back up again. And if you know Scare Brothers at all, they do everything. They construct everything themselves. They paint everything themselves. They put elaborate set pieces together by themselves. So to have a permanent location now in South Philly definitely is going to make a difference here. Okay, there we go. Scare Brothers Haunted Nightmare. There we go. Okay, so we actually went out, and it's pretty unbelievable because we went once at the beginning of October, and then we went again in the third week of October, or sorry, the fourth week of October. And there was a serious difference between the first week and the fourth week of October, and I really believe that they were still they weren't finished yet when we went at the beginning of October. They weren't finished constructing their sets and things like that. Our second experience at Scare Brothers at the fourth week of October was so much better, I believe, because they were more finished. A couple of things here. Scare Brothers Haunted Nightmare has 4 attractions. Okay, their first attraction is called House of a Thousand Zombies. And you can actually see kind of a couple years ago a making of on our favorites on this YouTube site. Their second attraction is called the Dungeon of Darkness, and you actually get led directly from the House of a Thousand Zombies right into the Dungeon of Darkness. Their third is the Circus of Fear, and their fourth is the Haunted Nightmare. Now, our group found that our favorite of all 4 of those was definitely the House of a Thousand Zombies right into the Dungeon of Darkness. The House of a Thousand Zombies had some of the most insane actors we've seen in a long time. I mean, these people were diving over props. These people were literally missing us by inches, running by us, screaming in our faces, extremely energetic. They have these crazy things with cages, and it really felt like a ton of actors in that first attraction. It was really intense. There was even a vomit scene, which was pretty amazing. It's always great whenever you have a vomit scene in a haunted house. And it was authentically pretty in your face and pretty brutal. So we found that to be one of our favorite attractions out of the 4. And then that leads you directly into the Dungeon of Darkness. And the Dungeon of Darkness is, as it says, it's pitch black with moments of a tiny faint light. And there are actors strewn in there. And it's pitch black. It's not a maze, but it's pitch black, and it feels really long, and it's pretty brutal, and if it's pretty mind-numbing if you don't like being in the dark, because you're walking endlessly and you're banging into walls. One of the guys in our group actually slammed his face right into the wall, and he wears glasses. So you really have to keep your hands out. But also, as you keep your hands out, be careful, because there are definitely actors in there. The Circus of Fear is a clown attraction, and has some really cool stuff in there. There were some. The clowns are pretty cool looking, and there was a noticeable difference at the Circus of Fear in their new location than in the previous locations in Horsham in the past few years. Our group thought that it seemed shorter, but at the same time, there were some really cool things in there, and the clowns themselves, they work off of the killer clowns and from outer space and things like that. And there's an excellent ending to it that kind of gets you a little bit lost. And great color schemes in there, some great things on the walls. which leads us to our Haunted Nightmare, which is the fourth attraction. The fourth attraction combines a lot of modern day horror films, and got some great actors in here. Our group thought that one of the best Friday the 13th sets that they've seen in a long time, and a great Jason, Freddy. Freddy Krueger scared us a little bit of this one, and there's some really cool things in here with the ring and things like that. There's some really interesting things. A really creepy section where with a woman and her dead sister or something, and then a buzzsaw that goes incredibly too close to you. And I also want to note that a lot of haunted houses do this thing called claustrophobia, where you know what it is, where you kind of have to push your way through these huge balloons that kind of suck you in. The way Scare Brothers does it is quite different, and I'm not going to say anything else about that, but just to keep it a surprise. But the way Scare Brothers does claustrophobia, which is actually in the House of a Thousand Zombies, the first attraction, is different than the way other haunted houses do, and that's a good thing. And it might actually bring more claustrophobia. So Scare Brothers, Haunted Nightmare, definitely our group's favorite. Our favorite attraction there was the first one, House of a Thousand Zombies, and the second, leading into the Dungeon of Darkness, which is definitely one of my. It's always been one of my favorites. The group consensus was that the Circus of Fear seemed shorter, but it had some different things from years before. Scare Brothers has great Rob Zombie music playing all the time, and some great music in general, and a great entrance as you're waiting in line to get into each attraction. The people that work there are unbelievable, and how many times can you hear the words "fresh meat" before you enter into an attraction? I mean, that should make you feel a little bit uneasy. And don't forget, folks, that the Haunted Nightmare has one of the coolest effects I've ever seen in any haunted house. And to this date, I haven't seen anybody else ever do it. All I'm going to say is it's at the beginning of the Haunted Nightmare, the fourth attraction. That's all I'm going to say. It's at the beginning. So, most original, creative, unique experience, effect in a haunted attraction is the beginning of the Haunted Nightmare. I've never seen it done before. Pretty wild. Scare Brothers Haunted Nightmare, you've always been amazing. You've always been brutal. You've always tested the boundaries and tested the limits, and everything you do is homemade. The walls are unbelievable. The sets are unbelievable. The strobe lights are unbelievable. The music is unbelievable. Great people who work there. So thank you, Scare Brothers Haunted Nightmare. If you guys want to make sure you check it out, you got to do it this last weekend of October. Go there. You can do them with Fright Factory at the Terraplex on Swanson Street in South Philly. Scare Brothers Haunted Nightmare. Thank you.